going into game number 2, we have one of my other favorite Dutch Protoss player, and that's the Afrotas from Mouse Control. Excuse me, my insanity in this match. But first, let's introduce Mouse Control's Hephaestus.
Yes, that's actually a Greek god.
Yes, the Greek god of iron and
Forgery?
Yeah, forgery. Yeah.
No, like forging. I think forgery is...
Forgery, yeah, that's counterfeiting money. That's not exactly what he's a god of. And here we have the Afrotas, J-Power, one of my favorite people to cast, actually.
Is it true that he really has a distinct style versus Zerg, where he really likes to go open Stargate into pretty much Colossus every single time?
Yes,
because that's always what he does when I cast his games.
It is true. He really likes that build, so let's see if he'll be doing it this time around as well. But he does play other stuff sometimes as well. I mean, I've seen a lot of 4 gateway plays out of him in the early Heart of the Swarm days, before he started using that Stargate opener quite a lot. So, you know what? Let's see here. Nice building placement so far from J-Power. Hatch first coming out of the Zerg player. So far, nothing out of the ordinary. Again, considering the distances, Hatch first is pretty safe. It could get cannoned, to be quite honest. This is not a difficult map to cannon a natural on, but since so many Protosses are just not opening Forge ever, it's just the current meta, guys.
It is the meta. I know J-Power really loves his gateway expanse. Interesting position, putting his gateway next to his simulator, blocking off as well with the Siren score, really blocking off any, sort of run bys around the mineral line.
Yeah,
which,
I like that. I like that. Instead of, in case of your opponent is going for an early pull and tries to sneak the first, I don't know, 4 or 6 slings inside your main base, this is a good move. This would limit the movement of said lings quite a lot, and would make it easier for slower units like Zealots, with the help of the Mothership Core and the probes, to catch up. Now, J-Power going for the expansion here at the natural base. There we go, before getting Warp Gates, Mothership Core, or anything. And he'll probably be going for the Mothership Core right now. There we go. And his opponent still hasn't taken a gas. I think J-Power just now scouted that, so he knows. Yeah, he knows this is gasless, so he's going to be expecting a third hatchery being built.
Yeah, that seems to be par for the course, considering the fact this Hephaestus still hasn't taken any gases. So I guess he wants to, expand on that heavy mineral income as much as he can. Link's scouting around a bit, looking for proxy pylons. Of course, a bit early, but as Warpgate has only just started, but still better safe than sorry. And as we can see, the first probe is actually already out on the map. Going to be hiding out at the watchtower for now, and perhaps, looking to hide in the bottom here.
And there's a Stargate, by the way, that we mentioned before. So once again, J-Power not afraid to stick to his guns. Stargate going down, and well, he's going to be playing this defensively behind this. So it's either Phoenixes or Oracles with sentries for defense. One Link tries to make it up. Zealots tries to juke the Link and kill it, but is not successful. Nice scouting here for Hephaestus, and pretty much he knows everything he needs to for now.
Yeah, you should know that, especially with the Stargate at this timing, early gateway aggression is usually not something that will happen. Of course, as we see J-Power do now, it's more common for Protoss to put any additional gateways in their natural wall off rather than somewhere in the back of their base. Hephaestus has decided to take his third base. He's getting link speed right now, but I do expect him to be transitioning into Hydras at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see if he's. Yeah, he's still mining gas, because that was so late. Getting a third gas as well. Yeah, he's not getting a lair just yet, but is taking it a little bit slower. The thing is, if you go straight into Hydras, straight into lair and Hydras on just Lings, you can die from those 3 gateways. That's the problem.
Yeah. And that's kind of what he's doing.
Yeah, we're actually seeing double evolution chambers.
Yeah, and there's going to be a warp in at the front here from J-Power, I think. It's gateways with warp gate just finished up, and here we go. 3 zealots being warped in along with the already existing zealot and the mothership core are going to be causing quite a bit of trouble here for Hephaestus. Hephaestus
Yeah.
actually losing overlords left and right is heavily supply blocked and not replenishing them quite yet. Also, his link count is all that high. He only has 3 Zerglings, which are currently dying at the front natural wall of
That's
of
true.
J-Power.
And he can't produce any more lings, such as this is. J-Power forming a full wall off at the front to try to conserve gas and force field energy. Third under attack. Hephaestus still supply blocked, producing only 2 lings. 4 more overlords in production. Hephaestus not in a very good position. This third is going down faster than a Titanic.
Yeah, Hephaestus losing his flirt to a rather basic Protoss move at this stage, I would say. Of course, you did not see the gateways, but you should still have, something out on the map. Of course, the fact that there are phoenixes out on the map makes it difficult or more difficult for Zerg to spot this, because they can still pick up links.
But you should expect it to come.
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
Oh, that time warp, man! That time warp.
Now the zealots are going to town on all of these speed links, getting a very nice position here, and not too great of a surround here for the Zerg. He seems to be slowly chewing through all of these zealots, but the Phoenix are still going to town on the queens, and Hephaestus does hold on, but he had to invest a lot in here to actually survive.
The resources lost are doubling the resources lost by the Protoss, and these Phoenixes are going to do even more damage. I once talked to J-Power about how much damage should the Phoenix opening do to the Zerg player in order for it to be effective, and he said roughly 2,000 resources and more. If you do any less, then pretty much the opening did not pay for itself. So I expect him to be very, very active with these Phoenixes throughout the whole game. And behind this, as you predicted correctly, he's transitioning into Colossus. He's getting his Forge, he's getting his +1. I would expect a 3rd base and a Twilight Council shortly here. But so far, J-Power in a commanding position in the game.
Yeah, definitely a very commanding position. Hephaestus, having slightly overproduced on links, is actually looking to go for a counterattack. And he will get a cancel on this third, actually, which is quite beneficial to him, because if he were to actually fall behind on bases against the Protoss, that's really not something you want to have. So, oh, actually a bit overcommitting with these links here. He's actually going to go for a full surround here, but the Zealots are out in force. There's enough of them that this is not a very cost-effective engagement for Hephaestus. A huge mistake here, throwing away all the map control he actually had there.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, the Phoenixes are picking up more and more and more drones. 7 drones killed so far by J-Power. And Hephaestus is relying on Queen and Spore-Crawler defense, unwilling to build any other type of anti-air, and I think what he's actually going for are Ling Ultra composition with Queens and Infestors. I don't know if this is a good idea. I mean, J-Power is adding on a 2nd Stargate. He's starting to produce Void Rays. I think he read this very, very well once he saw the fast infestation bit, and he'll surely come in once. Oh, he actually sees the hive, so he knows exactly what is up.
Yeah, it's actually a bit of a rare style against Protoss these days to go for the fast, heavily upgraded links into Ultras. Usually the fast links are fast enough in order to deal with the early Zealot arrest, but I think it's usually done off 2 base, not 3, which is why it might have caused so much trouble there for Hephaestus. Hephaestus is now adding on a lot of Corruptors. Apparently he's really not liking these Phoenixes anymore. But the composition of J-Power is kind of playing into that, with Twilight Council now being added on for Blink Stalkers, as well as the already existing Void Rays.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a Void Ray, right? Where is
there
it?
was. I don't know if... Yeah, it is. There's one Void Ray out on the map with the army. Now, I mean, J-Power is in a good position, but his army is looking... You know, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's not really built to counter a particular composition or to force out a particular response. There is the Adrenal Glands being queued up by the Zerg player. There's the Ultra Cavern, and once J-Power, actually he sees that with the Observer, and I think he checked just now. I think I saw him select that Observer. So once he knows that there is an Ultra Cavern, he'll start even more Void Rays. I wouldn't be surprised if he adds on a 2nd Robo Facility and starts Immortal Production 2x2, which is what he's doing currently, and completely skips Colossi from this point on. And if he does that, I don't see that Hephaestus winning a fight. And what? Mutalisks?
Okay.
This
yeah.
doesn't make any. This doesn't make much sense to me, to be quite honest.
Because he does actually have +1 attack for the Mutas, but still, I also kind of agree. There's already a sizable Air Force out for J-Power, and J-Power, well, actually it's 4 Phoenixes and 2 Void Rays, but still, yeah, here we go. There's actually Infestors being added on as well, so Hephaestus, in the middle of all of this, is completely throwing around his composition. He also hasn't spread any creep to the left side, so he's completely unaware that his 4th base is about to get pounced on by the Protoss army.
Immediate cancel, so he does save the 225 minerals there, but J-Power has complete map control. He does have the advantage in terms of composition. He's just one step ahead in terms of steps in this game.
Now there's Ultras.
Yeah, Ultralisks are going to come out, but you know, Ultralisks for Zerg and ZVP, they're just kind of like a one-trick card. You use that composition once, and then you cannot ever do it again because it's hard countered.
Yeah.
Really hard.
There's actually a fleet beacon being added on for J-Power, as also DT Shrine. He's still on 3 bases, but he feels completely comfortable tech switching. Notice how he hasn't really pressed the issue. Wait, where did he leave his army? Oh, he recalled to his 3rd, okay. He's actually going to lose the 4th because of this. So J-Power is retaking map control right now, trying to re-expand and use Ultralistic pressure. But yeah, the hard counter, Immortals, is currently on the way, and well, double robotics facility production.
The Infestors are the key for this to work, right? You need to lock the Protoss army in one clump, in one place, so the Ultras can get a good surface area to actually do their work. But there are not that many Infestors in that army. I think there are only 2. Yeah, there are only 2 Infestors total out in this game. Hephaestus not having the 4th base, not having the 5th base, and producing very many high gas units, just does not have enough gas for everything.
There's another thing here which I think is critical. There's no overseer with the army, meaning that he cannot spot observers, nor can he actually fight against DTs. So if he attacks and J-Power warps in like 5 DTs,
he's dead.
Yeah, he kind of loses the fight, or at least in the end he might trade favorably, but still will lose his army. The Ultralisk card count is also not that high. There's like 4 of them. There's actually 4 Immortals as well, so when you have more Immortals than Ultras in a fight, things are not going to go all that well. And I think, you know, Hephaestus is currently maxed out, and his composition is not that good. Like, he isn't doing anything with it. He needs to establish map control, and now his 4th base is under attack.
Once again, just on the other side of the map, he does pull his links to the side to deal with that. They're going to kill the Zealots, but I don't... They should kill the Zealots because they're not attacking the hatchery. But, I don't know.
This is such a random composition from Hephaestus. He has like every unit. That works with Terran maybe, but not with Zerg. And actually a nice run by here, but it's being anticipated by J-Power warps in a couple of defensive Zealots. Upgrades on the Zerglings are actually still only 2 fair base and 1 attack, so they will not chew through this force so quickly. And Hephaestus actually kills all of the Zealots, so you should be able to do a bit of damage.
Yeah,
those
adrenal glands actually doing a major difference there. J-Power even forced to bring his Mothership Core from the 4th base and trigger a photon overcharge here after all the cannons have been destroyed. And Hephaestus is waiting, still waiting. I know what he's waiting for. He's waiting for the creep, because he needs to attack with the queens, and he needs those queens in order to transfuse those ultras. But this is going to take such a long time.
You know what would be actually good here for Hephaestus? Swarmost. If he actually had Swarmost here, he would be in a really good position.
That's true.
Oh, Ultras really wrecked Zealots, by the way. Didn't know if you saw that on the right flank, but that whole thing got caught and destroyed. And here come more Zealots actually heading towards that hatchery. And no spines here to defend it actually. And Phoenixes are actually going to town on the Overlords in the main.
Yep, those Overlords are hovering over a Spore Crawler, but only a single one, and not in the best ideal position. Meanwhile, the 4th base narrowly does not go down for Hephaestus. Phoenix is still doing a lot of work. Like I said, J-Power I expected him to be very active with these Phoenixes. They're taking out the Mutalisks right now.
They're taking out all of the Mutalisks. They do run into the Queens, but not a big issue actually. And it seems like Hephaestus is actually better off spreading his supply on something else. Queens actually get focused down at the front. Hephaestus reinforces with Ultralisk, but I'm not sure if that's the correct move. He needs all of his army in order to fight.
This was a nice move. This was a nice move by J-Power, doing a feint in order to allow those Zealots to finish off that hatchery, and he might even get 2 for 1 here.
Yeah, and Hephaestus is now forced to pull back his army towards his natural, losing his 4th base, now down on economy. The investors actually get picked up by the Phoenixes. Really good catch here by J-Power. And yeah, just even these run-bys are tearing Hephaestus apart, even though he had all the time to set up a couple of spores or spines in order to defend against this.
Yeah, very nice moves here by J-Power, but I think he's a little bit afraid, and I think he does not need to be, of these 8 Ultras. The queens are not there any longer. There are no Mutalisks to speak of, basically. There are Corruptors, but doesn't matter when you don't really have that many units that the Corruptors can bring down. Yeah, sure, you have Void Rays, and Colossi, but that's about it, and those are going to be focusing different things anyways. I think J-Power should go for it, but he's such a technical player that instead of winning the game, he's going to be double harassing with double warpers and drops.
Yep, and now Hephaestus is making a move towards the 4th. However, there are Immortals waiting for him. The Overseers are with the army now, so he'll be able to spot the hallucinated Phoenixes. Actually, the Immortals getting kited. I mean, kiting these Ultralisks quite well, because half of the army of Hephaestus is going down on the Nexus, and the other piece is being shredded by the Colossus force.
Yeah, and the base did go down. 5th was denied before for J-Power, so they traded bases. There's this one DT that killed a whole hatchery by himself. Wow, good job, DT. And J-Power should probably double expand and go for a counterattack. There is no reason not to. He's almost at 200. His composition is good. His upgrades are looking good. And he needs to buy time to secure those additional expansions, because his bank is going to be running out after the first major fight.
Well, at least he has a bank. Oh, actually, Hephaestus, while you weren't paying attention, is transitioning into Brute Lord. I think J-Power knows. Yes, he's adding on Tempest.
He kind of expected this.
He was well prepared. That's safe to say. Oh my god, look at the Zealots at the fort.
Yeah, exactly.
The angle that they are getting against these circling, so cost efficient before they are finally cleaned up, and this Ultralisk will take care of that. But still, J-Power is in such an efficient position, actually getting in a position where his Phoenixes can take out a single Broodlord, something that should never happen. Where are the Corruptors?
Yeah, the Corruptors were just taking a flight through the map, taking in all the sights. They were on vacation. Well, sloppy there, Mr. Corruptor.
Oh my god, look at how many Immortals there are still in the army of J-Power.
Yeah, they're just going to be two-shotting the Ultras.
The amount of value and the cost efficiency of the army of J-Power is amazing. Like, of course, Broodlords are really, really good. There's currently only 3. Once again, they're being picked apart by these Phoenixes. Not a good response here by J-Power, actually leaving all of his Broodlords to die here against the Phoenixes that are...
You know what, I don't think Hephaestus cares at this point. He just had enough. He tries to go in, tries to do as much damage as possible. J-Power even hallucinating Colossi, and while Hephaestus is focusing on that Nexus, Broodlords are going down from behind to the Phoenixes, and J-Power decides to take down these Ultras. He has to target fire really well here. Still a lot of Immortals, but all that army is clumped up. Fortunately for J-Power, kiting against a Protoss army with Ultras off creep does not work very well. Ultras are actually really slow off creep. So that didn't work out that well for the Zerg player. In the meantime, we have that Warprism here trying to find a spot to warp in a DT. We have the bottom base under attack by J-Power, and this is... Oh, go for it, J-Power. Don't go back. You can take out the space while your opponent deals with the harass. Huge warping of Zealots will take out the Greater Spire in the main base, and that should be it.
It looks like J-Power is finally picking him apart. The army composition of J-Power has slightly fallen in quality. He still has a couple of Archons and Immortals, there, but he still needs to, replenish most of his forces. The upgrades are absolutely amazing, now finishing up even air armor for his Tempests. But I think adding on a couple more high-value units to his army would be really good. Both players with a huge gas bank. Maybe it'd be an
Yeah.
idea for J Power to transition into a more Templar-based composition with
Yeah,
lots of swords.
maybe Templars or
Actually,
Archons.
against Ultras,
Archons are pretty good against Ultras if you can mass enough of them. And Templars are, you know, when you're up against Ultras with Queens, Templars are actually good for you because you can feed back the Queens. The transfusions are really painful if you are up against a Zerg who is good at that. Even despite the fact that you have so many Immortals, those Ultras can live for twice as long with good transfuses.
oh yeah, for a lot longer if they so want to. Hephaestus, both players make equal supply actually, and we see a lot of Templar being warped in. Hephaestus makes a move onto the base of J Power once again, both players being reduced to 4 bases. I'm not sure what his plans for these Corruptors are. I think J Power is actually mostly going to focus on a ground-based army, adding on more Archons and
Yes,
Immortals here.
I think he is, and you know, Archons can shoot up. Unless those Corruptors become Broodlords, J Power has no reason to be afraid of that composition. And on the other hand, it also ties a lot of Hephaestus's food in useless units that he cannot use against anything. Basically, they're just dead weight that he's lugging around behind him, whereas he could have infestors instead of those corruptors, for example.
Both players are in such an interesting position. Actually, Hephaestus, I think, has more minerals left to mine on his extra base here at the front. Yeah, it's a bit more, about like 300 minerals per patch difference. DTs keep causing havoc for him, but both players now have maxed out with a, well, safe to say, interesting army composition. J-Power setting up a nice spread here. Vipers have been added to the mix as well, and there's quite a few ultimates. However, you do not want to be pummeled from afar like that by Tempest. That's quite bad for your health.
Yeah, 4 Tempests is a nice number. If actually J-Power trades off a couple of units and adds 1 more Tempest, he would be one-shotting Broodlords, so he would not be he would not need to be afraid of a Broodlord transition, even if Hephaestus had the money. One thing I like about Hephaestus is how he's been constantly denying the 5th base of J-Power from coming up for the past, oh, I don't know, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Really consistently.
Yeah, it's been the same as well. You know, how many times have we seen the 5th of Hephaestus to the right see go down? And we're not even sure where this game will end. Like we've been saying for a while that the quality of J-Power's army has actually been superior in almost every way. You know, with the Tempest, with the really high Immortal count, as well as all the Archons. And oh my god, is he gonna go to another fight? Or is Hephaestus just gonna leave? Oh.
Yeah, I think he's going to leave. He doesn't want to fight here.
Yeah. Sacrifices his infested Terrans.
You know, it's. I
think
was
J-Power's
just about
had
to
enough.
say that J-Power would not be losing bases if he had more spotting out on the map, but it's really difficult to do when the Zerg has Overseers and Corruptors. Oh, this is not good. Ultra is dancing in the storms. There are no transfuses here.
Oh, this is like the perfect engagement here for J-Power. He's just grinding all of these ultras, completely wrecking the army of Hephaestus who did
that's
not
it?
get around. And there's only Corruptors and Spellcasters left.
Yeah, J-Power can go for this. I mean, Corruptors, you can't touch me. And that should be it. And these Immortals, they will just one-shot hatcheries at this point.
Almost, yeah, that's almost the case. Hephaestus is remaxing with Ultra Ling, but against
That's a
Archon
bad
Immortals,
choice.
That's pretty much the worst choice. I think Mass Muta might have actually been a better way to spend all of those resources, and J-Power is now like an uninvited guest, forcing his way up the ramp. Here come the reinforcements of Hephaestus from everything at different angle. Nice fungal though on the Immortals, but their DPS is just huge, and the Immortals that are still up are completely shredding all of the Ultralisks.
Yeah, and that's going to be the GG well played coming out of Hephaestus. 2-0 for Team 2legit2quit.